the Corona Color Correct map. I will increase the gamma so we have less contrast in the reflection and the map gets brighter. We can also reduce the contrast using this value. I think the floor is still too reflective, so I will just set the roughness to 0.7 and lower the map opacity here. Value 50 means 50% opacity. I think it looks better now. The color map is too contrasty as well. I will increase the gamma here as well. It got brighter in the result, so let's just lower the brightness value. I will also make it warmer. Now, I'm happy with the result. Let's work on the wood material. I will add a Corona physical material as usual. Let's set the color to red, just to see what's being added. Start applying the material to the wood elements. Awesome! Here's the wood material from Reroad we'll be using in this tutorial. Let's add the same textures we usually do. This time I won't be using a displacement map as it's not necessary for the wood materials. A normal map is enough. This time I will use the rework scale and set the size to 220 centimeters. Have to do the same with every texture. Let's copy the Corona normal map and plug our texture there. Then plug everything into the bump slot. Let's see the render. I forgot about this element. Let's apply the material there. I think wood is too reflective also. I will just copy the Corona Color Correct map and adjust the settings. When you can, just copy something you have already to save some time. Let's create Corona physical material for the rug. Here are the textures I will be using. Let's start with the displacement. I think it's a bit too much, so I will lower the values a bit. I think it looks way better. Let's add the normal map. Everything's looking good. Next, let's work on the color. It's way too dark. But before we edit the color, let's work on the roughness map as it will affect the brightness of the material. See, it's brighter now. Next, let's add the fall-off effect. I will add the color texture to the second slot. Now you can see that the areas perpendicular to the view angle are black. You want to have the totally opposite situation. So the areas parallel to the view should be lighter. I will have to switch the slots. Now you can see that we have what we wanted, but the effect is way too strong. So I plug the texture back there and just lower the opacity. Now we can just adjust the Bezier curve to control the effect. You can see that on the material preview. It is way closer to the edges now. I'm happy with the result. I will just add the Corona Color Correct map to make some final tweaks. I'll make the carpet warmer as we did before with other materials and maybe add a bit of gamma to reduce the contrast and make it brighter at the same time. Awesome! For window, I will just use a preset. Let's go with an iron polished. Apply the material to the models. We have to adjust it. It's too bright. I will darken the color. Maybe even more. I think it's a bit too reflective, so I will increase the roughness to 0.3. And again, whenever you can, just use the reset to save time. I rendered the image a bit longer, and now I can see that the wood is too bright. So I will just go back to it, and I will make it darker using the color correct map. Let's make the side lamp a bit less intense. Also, I think the carpet is a bit too dark still, so I will increase the brightness a bit. Lastly, let me show you how to make the leather material way better by using lighting. I will create a rectangle light here and position it so it's visible in the leather reflections. Here you go. It's way too strong, but I already can see a lot of details that were super black before. I will lower the intensity. Adjust the size a bit. Switch the settings from exclude to include, and include only the chair. Way better. The light is too warm though. Change it to direct input and adjust the warmth in the light mix. Let's adjust the intensity a bit too. Looking well. Lastly, add the light, select the render element and add the new light there. In the light mix, I will just copy the parameters from the rest layer and then reset the rest layer to the default settings.